Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me. Sonia here from Sonia El Haj Coaching here on Facebook. Today it's time for our live again. Today the topic is was a question that a lovely follower, Hamis, asked a couple of weeks ago. And she asked, okay, sorry, I'm going to make sure I know how to see the comments because I'm on my phone, not on my computer. Tap the viewer. Okay, I'm trying to see to kind of be able to follow who's watching and make sure I can see the comments. Okay. All right. I cannot see the comments, so just say hello or drop an emoji or something to let me know that you're here. So again, I'm going to introduce myself again for those who are new. Sonia here, certified coactive life coach and founder of the free Butterfly Tribe here on Facebook. This is our weekly live, and today we're talking about fear versus intuition. Fear in Arabic المخاوف الخوف والintuition in Arabic الحدث وإلا الحاسة السادسة. Okay, just to be on the same track together, on the same page together. Okay, for those who whose first language is Arabic. Okay, so fear versus intuition. Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about what they are. What is fear and what is intuition? We're going to give simple definitions, okay? Then, number two, we're going to try to understand what they are a little more and kind of talk about how they show up in our lives, where they show up, and how to tell the difference, how to distinguish between these two things, okay? And then third, we're going to focus on how to, I'm gonna give you a quick exercise about fear, but I don't wanna focus too much on fear. I wanna focus more on how to hone or build intuition. Intuition is a muscle, so how do we strengthen that muscle of intuition? Okay? I really had fun. I really want to say hello again to Hamis. I hope she's following because this is a topic that keeps coming back. It's not easy sometimes, you know, when we don't have the practice of this to tell the difference between fear and intuition, because they can really confuse us. So I was really happy, and I had a great time thinking about this topic and intuiting about this topic. So today is more about really coming down from the head, from the brain, from that we are used to thinking, and going down into the gut and the body and the emotion, and kind of finding out how to tap more into those things. Okay, right, so let's get started. So I can see some of you online. Hi everyone, thank you for being here. Drop a like or a comment or anything you like so that I know that you are on. Okay, so number one, what are they? Okay, so fear first. Okay, we all know about fear. Who doesn't, feel fear, at least once a day, or when they are thinking about their future, or trying to make a decision, or trying to, or maybe thinking about taking on a new project, or leaving a job, leaving a relationship, starting a new job, starting a new relationship, getting married. So all of these are decisions and things we go into every day of our lives, and we feel fear. It's inevitable. Okay, so what is fear? Fear is an emotion of distress signaling a danger, the presence of a danger or a threat to our safety. So it's a little warning. It gives us information about what's going on around us. Okay, and what fear tries to do, fear's main job is to keep us safe. Okay. Now, fear comes from the brain. It's a signal from the brain that it's a thought basically, and the brain is telling us that we are under danger. Okay, our brain, that's the function of our brain basically. Our brain is wired for survival. It's not wired, it's not designed for success or fulfillment or happiness. It's wired to keep us safe where we are, and to make sure that we don't get hurt. So it's survival. Let me go to intuition and then go back, okay, to fear. So intuition. Now, fear, by the way, is not always our best guide. Fear is necessary to keep us alive, to keep us safe, to protect us. So, for example, it's not a good idea for me to get into the car with a stranger. That's normal, I guess, you know. So to a certain extent, fear is necessary. It keeps us safe, you know. But it's not the best guide. It's not the guide we need to follow when we are making life decisions. Okay, when we are trying to, when we are seeking happiness, when we want to be happy, So when we want to move forward with our lives and be more fulfilled. Okay, now intuition, and I get asked this a lot. Am I right for feeling this? Intuition is always right. Okay. That you cannot have any doubts about. Okay, intuition, we're born with it. We all have it. It's just that we were not trained to follow intuition. We have been trained to follow our mind. We have been trained to go to school, to study, to get a job, learn a skill, and really just stay within those parameters that we were taught. Okay. Now, intuition is quite different. Intuition is, we all know the five senses: touch, you know, smell, etc. Intuition is also called the sixth sense. In Arabic, it's الحدث ولا الحاسة السادسة. So the sixth sense, or the gut feeling, okay, or gut reaction. It's something that comes from within us, from usually the gut, which is the belly area. So it's usually coming from the stomach. We feel it in the stomach, although people feel it in different ways, and we're gonna get to that. So intuition is always right. It's our inner knowing. It's not about thoughts. It's not intellectual intelligence. It's not intellectual abilities. It's not what our brain tells us. It's not thinking. Intuition is different. It's the messages and the knowledge and the wisdom that comes from within. Okay, and we all have it. We're all blessed with it. We're all created with it. It's just that it's a talent that is there, but that needs to be trained. Okay, that needs to be recognized. That needs to be honored. And unfortunately, that's not what happens in our lives. We are taught to focus much more on the brain and on the intellect. Okay, as sometimes as the only way of knowing. Okay. All right. So our intuition, what does it do? Our intuition gives us information about what's right for us, what is freeing for me, what is fulfilling for me, what makes me happy, what makes me feel free. Okay, so it doesn't tell me, it's not concerned with what is going to keep me safe. Okay, it's more about what makes me feel free inside. Okay, so we're going to start, looking more into the differences between fear and intuition and how to recognize them based on those differences. So fear tells you, hey, you're not safe. Be careful. Stop. okay? Intuition tells you, wow, this feels so good. This feels right. It's not about, I think this is right. It's not about, I write the pros and cons of something or have endless debates and intellectual conversations about something or a decision. It's about just a very subtle feeling that just comes up and it just kind of winks at you. It nudges you. And we'll talk more about how, these messages or these nudges show up, because they're different for everyone. So unlike fear, intuition gives us, or our gut feeling gives us, information about what is right for us, what feels right, what is going to be fulfilling for us, what is important for us to have a more fulfilled life, or to make a decision with peace, with ease. Okay, so fear gives us this kind of, stressful energy. It makes us afraid. It's distress. Intuition gives us quite the opposite, which is a freeing, liberating, relieving feeling or energy. Now, let's go back to fear now. Fear comes from the brain. The brain tells you, hey, you're not safe, careful, stay where you are, stay in that box, do not try something new, although you want to try it. Okay? So the thoughts come in a way that is loud and that is repetitive and nagging and negative. It comes in the form of negative voices and messages. It gives you more doubt, fear. It doesn't really help you become more clear. It's the opposite. Fear fills you with more doubt. With fear, we feel more closed. Okay, we feel dread. We feel a sense of uncertainty still. Okay, and it can show up in different levels. Of course, it can be really, really stressful. Okay. Now, in the body, how does fear show up? If you talk to someone and they're full of fear, or you have fears yourself, notice your body and notice their body. The shoulders may come forward. We are closing in. The body just, shows us. There's a lot of wisdom in our body. It shows us exactly what we're going through. If you look at the face, when when you are aware of these things on somebody else's, for example, face, you can see the face becoming pasty and pale and just kind of, there's not much life in their face. So it's really about the lack of aliveness, You can see stress on their body. You can see contracting, okay? Even when you feel around your heart area or your solar plexus, you feel closedness, contraction. It's limiting, So that's fear. So basically fear blocks us, okay? Fear tells us, do not move. Do not get out of this place. Do not think any other thoughts. This is what's good for you. You're safe here. Do not try, to get out and free yourself. Now, let's go back to intuition and see what the differences are. With intuition is not loud. It's not those nagging thoughts from the head. Intuition doesn't come from the head, although sometimes it does, because it really depends on the person. And that's, the point here is to really understand yourself and try and start practicing this and start allowing your intuition to come in. And that's what we're going to talk about at the end of today. So intuition, unlike fear, is quite different. It comes usually as a subtle, quieter message or nudge. It doesn't beg for your attention. It doesn't nag you, and it doesn't repeat, and it doesn't hammer you with the same thing. Okay, like fear, it doesn't. Intuition, intuitive signals come from the body. Okay, they don't come from the head usually. So the voice is usually one of calming reassurance. It tells you that it's basically something that doesn't have anything to do with thoughts. It just feels right. And now many of you will say, how do I know that it's right? How do I know, Well, the thing is, what we need to do here is come down from the head, and listen to the body. Start listening to the emotions and really stop thinking. And I will give you some ideas of how to stop thinking later on. But that is the point. The point is not to think. The point is not to decide intellectually whether this is right or wrong. The point is to allow yourself to feel that it's right or wrong for you. So it's a new way of knowing, a new signal. That if you don't have, the training in, I really, really, really recommend that you start, that you start allowing it, because we as a human being have so many modes of knowing. We don't only have the brain and the intellect. We have the body wisdom, we have intuition, we have emotions, we have experience, we have spirituality. Okay, so we have arts, we can feel through the arts when we express ourselves artistically. So such a joy, to allow yourself to be fully and wholly human and tap into all of those modes of knowing. So let's go back to intuition, which is such a wonderful and juicy and rich mode of knowing for us. I can see some more of you joining. Hi, I cannot see any comments. Drop any likes or emojis whenever you like. I would love to hear from you. Sonia here again. And today we're talking about fear and intuition. So let's go back to intuition and how it shows up. How do I know that it's a message from my intuition? So unlike the fear that shows up in repetitive, nagging, negative, loud, limiting, closing, contracting voices, intuition is a voice of calmness, reassurance. You just feel and know intuitively in your body that it's right. Okay, so it's not here, it's down here, neck down, solar plexus, heart, and your whole body. Just keep listening. Welcome messages from your body. Don't ignore, messages from your body. Sometimes, we're really trained to just run to the doctor or run to the medicine cabinet and get some tablets and, or run to the psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever, and want to mask and not feel anything because it's supposed to be wrong to feel. Well, that's the thing, we have to feel. We cannot, when we live our lives suppressing our feelings, eventually that catches up with us. Okay, they will find a way to find us. And the message, if not listened to, will show up in other forms on our bodies. Of course, God forbid. But yeah, so let's go back. And so it feels right. Sometimes it comes with this attached feeling of relief or neutrality. It could be neutral. But it's not that feeling of closedness and contraction. It's quite different. It's the other. It's a feeling of freedom, expansiveness. So you feel expansiveness and freedom and big. You feel big. Maybe in your chest area, maybe in your stomach. You feel light. You feel you can flow now. You feel okay. Now I can move. I want to just, go ahead and just flow and go forward with whatever it is that I need to go forward with. So basically, just like fear, unlike fear that blocks me from what I need to do or progress with. Intuition frees me. So there's that feeling of freedom and relief. I can go forward now. I can flow. Okay? So, so now, I want to go back and give a couple of examples from my own life about how intuition showed up in my life. Just 2 examples. One of them was quite, subtle, and the other was quite violent, actually. And I really, this is one way to become more aware of your intuition and work on it and develop it and strengthen that, intuition muscle, which is to really look at your life. Look at examples of decisions or moments of your life or experiences where you had some red flags or you had some, some kind of feeling or emotion or a nudge or a message, and you knew that it was important, you received something, but you ignored it. And then something happened that proved to you that that feeling was correct. Think about those experiences. Think about those moments. And think about how did they show up for me? For you, I mean. Was it a taste in your mouth? Was it a pain in your stomach? Was it some kind of feeling or, a lump in your throat? Was it a very subtle feeling or was it a very subtle message somewhere in your body? Okay. All right. So let me go on with the 2 examples. So one example, it was quite subdued, was quite simple and quiet, okay? So long story short, I met a potential client over a year ago, and I was not as experienced as I am now with my intuition. And this client, came in and sat down, and I could feel something was wrong. And I did not really give that much importance. I felt I picked up something that was wrong in the energy between me and this person. And I kind of ignored that, and we did not, really work together. And then this person wanted to meet again, and we planned a session. And this client kind of became quite violent, and she expressed that she didn't want to be there, and she was triggered by something, of course. And yeah, so again, I did not really, give it much importance. And 1 year later, more recently, this person contacted me again and wanted to work on a project together. And I excused myself, of course, because I didn't feel aligned with this person. And she really flipped out and sent me some quite violent messages on the phone and on email. And of course I asked her not to contact me again, and I let her go with love. But the thing is, from the very beginning, I felt something was off, and I did not listen to it. And I gave time to this person still. And my intuition now shows me that it was right from the very first moment that I met that person. So that's one example. And the feeling I had, or the intuitive message I had, was quite light, quite simple. Okay. All right. So another example. This example was quite obvious. maybe, I don't remember exactly how long this was ago, but I was I was working somewhere, and I was expected to go to a meeting in another town, to drive to this town. And it was a very foggy morning. It was very heavy fog. I woke up, I looked at the fog, and I knew that in my gut, intuitively, that something was going to happen. And I called work and I excused myself and I said I'm not going to drive. That morning, I woke up feeling great, fine. I had nothing wrong with me. And all of a sudden, after seeing that fog and really becoming quite worried, I ran to the bathroom and I threw up. I vomited, and it was quite a violent reaction, which didn't have any physical explanations. I was fine, my stomach was fine, and nothing else happened. It was just that, And sure enough, 1 hour or 2 hours later, I looked at the paper online, and there were a few of my colleagues who were driving to this other town for this meeting for work were caught in a pile-up, very, very serious accident on the highway. And unfortunately, of course, there were casualties because, these accidents are quite serious when they happen with the fog on a big highway. So, and I believe, someone so there were some casualties. So sometimes your intuition can give you a very, very important message. Intuition is always important, it's always right. And so those were two examples of when my intuition talked to me. And in the second example, I chose to listen, and I'm glad I did. I'm really glad I did. So anyway, time is running, flying as usual. So I'm going to now move on to a metaphor. You know how I love metaphors. Metaphors are very, very, very powerful ways for us to learn, to really express what's going on within us, and to understand where we are, how we're feeling, and to understand, maybe try to figure out and clarify where we want to go next. In terms of intuition, it's really, really useful to try to, if you cannot express what's going on with your intuition, with the message that you're getting from your intuition, if you cannot explain it with words, try a metaphor. Try to draw an image, either mentally, talk about it with someone, or if you prefer to be by yourself, try to even draw it on paper, So now I'm going to suggest to offer a metaphor, okay, to kind of bring together what we talked about with fear and intuition. So we talked about fear and intuition as being both different modes of knowing, and they're both useful. Intuition is much more useful, and it should be used much more as our guide in our lives, because it shows us what is freeing and fulfilling for us, and what leads us to happiness and success and the things we want. Fear does exactly the opposite. It keeps us small, it keeps us closed, it keeps us doubtful, confused, and it's only concerned with our safety. So it keeps us comfortable, and it keeps us more into our small self. I am here, I want to be here, I don't want to, try all the greatness that is out there for me. Okay? So they do opposite things that way. So the metaphor is, consider these two modes of knowing as in an orchestra. So you have an orchestra, a band, a musical group with different musicians, and each musician has a different instrument. So this is your knowing, your knowledge. This is you. And these are your internal voices, or the ways that you understand and take information from the world around you. So imagine this is an orchestra, and there are many instruments being played. For example, one is the violin, one is the saxophone, one is the piano, the flute, etc. And all of these modes of knowing are, symbolized by these instruments, and they are your intellect, your brain, your body, wisdom, your gut feeling or your intuition, your fear, etc., etc. So imagine all of these instruments playing together harmoniously. So they're all playing together. What do you get? You get a beautiful musical piece that keeps flowing beautifully, that is enjoyable, okay? Because that's how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to all play together and give that easy, wonderful, harmonious and enjoyable piece of music. And so now imagine tuning out all of those instruments. Just stop listening to all of them and only choose and focus on listening to one instrument. Let's say it's your fear, okay? Because let's face it, many of us only listen to fear. They're always concerned with, what if this is wrong? What if I'm gonna be hurt? What if I fail? Etc., etc. So, and that's what we do, many of us in our lives. We only listen to fear. So imagine in your orchestra, you tune out all of those beautiful instruments playing harmoniously together, and you just focus on one instrument, which is fear. Let's say it's the violin. And here's what you're going to be hearing. Only that violin is just going like this, going as a screeching, annoying, sound that will never stop, and it's stuck there. It's playing the same message. You're gonna fail, you're not, whatever, you're gonna be hurt, you're not gonna survive this, do not do this, this is a mistake, etc., etc., etc. Okay? So what is the result going to be? What is the musical piece going to sound like? Yeah? A screeching, annoying violin sound. It's just the one sound, only one sound. There are no other messages. There are no other, there's no other wisdom, that you're allowing in. So yes. So think about it. What is your musical piece? What does your musical piece sound like? Okay, and which instrument do you tend to focus on, and which more instruments do you need to allow more in to have that piece be more enjoyable and more harmonious and more beautiful? Okay, all right. So let's move on to the last part of our live stream today, and I want to first say a quick thing about fear, and I'd like to see how we're doing with time. Okay, all right. So how to deal with fear? Okay, now fear, our fears, are thoughts that already exist out there. Okay, they're energies that exist out there. They're all around us. And they are not necessarily true. We choose to adopt them, to take them, okay? And adopt them as our reality. Although they are not true, okay? So the danger is that, when we allow fear to take over, every decision we make, the way we live our lives, is based on fear. And so fear usually, and we talked about it, at the beginning, we're not going to repeat that. So it asks us unnecessary, pointless, nagging questions, like that violin, all the time. What if I fail? What if this is a mistake? Etc., etc., etc. So fear asks us limiting questions that we should not really be focusing on. We should be focusing on other questions. So here's what I suggest. I suggest that you really turn those questions inside, upside down. If you are a person who finds it difficult to turn off your brain, if you are a person who is not very familiar with meditation and really stopping and being in the body, you're still learning how to do this, that's fine. Meet your brain where it is. Your brain has a lot of thoughts, right? And a lot of questions that keep nagging you. You know what to do when you have that monkey brain that has a lot of chatter? Give it something else to focus on. Yeah, trick it. So instead of having, asking all of those questions, when those questions keep coming in, ask the opposite questions that are more aligned with who you are as your best self, your higher self, in your full potential, in your vision, who you want to be ultimately. Okay? So for example, what if I fail? Okay, take your journal and answer the question, what if I succeed? Okay? Get your brain busy with that instead of being busy with fear-based questions, limiting questions. If your brain keeps asking, what if this is a mistake? Flip it somehow. For example, ask it, what will I learn? Okay? What will I learn? Because ultimately everything is a learning experience. What if how about, what if this takes me closer to what I want? How is this going to take me closer to what I want? Okay? So, and of course, to do this kind of exercise, you need to connect and be more close to your higher self, and that's a whole kind of, we can go more into depth with that in another live stream, of course. But it's very important that we connect to that higher self of ours, what we ultimately want, because when we are not connected to that, we keep staying in that small box. We keep having thoughts that are more, that the small self, wants us to stay stuck in. Okay? So the exercise basically is connect to your higher self, what you want ultimately, who you want to be ultimately, because that is actually just like those energies and fears, and thoughts are available, and you're choosing to take them and build on them. The same, in the same way, the other freeing thoughts and wonderful thoughts and higher self thoughts are also out there. The energy is also out there. And you can also make the other choice of choosing those other thoughts. So, so you need to connect to your higher self and ask yourself when you get those thoughts, what thought am I choosing now? Why is it not true? And what would my higher self say about this? What would me, as in my full potential, say about this? What would me in like 10 years from today or 5 years from today, when I am what I want to be, say about these thoughts? Okay, how are they getting me closer to where I want? And yes, so that's one way to deal with those thoughts when you're trying to make a decision and you're feeling and you're getting stuck. And you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, is this fear? Is this intuition? Is this that? Okay, think about each thought. Is that aligned with what you want, with your higher self, or not? Okay, if not, what would your higher self say about it? Okay, and get your brain busy with that instead of staying stuck in those fear-based thoughts. Okay, so last part. Now, let's go on to intuition, back to intuition. And I'd like to talk about 5 ways. And I'm going to try to make this quick because I think we're out of time. 5 ways to strengthen, to make your intuition muscle stronger. First and foremost, you need to look at your life. most of us live very busy lives. We are too concerned with what to do next. We're running, and we have millions and millions of thoughts, going through our heads all the time. So of course, if we are living here and we're busy here and around us all the time, of course our intuition is not going to be heard. Remember, intuition is a very soft, quiet voice. It's not a loud voice. So number one is silence. Silence. Take a moment. In fact, take that moment right now and just sit back like this with me. And just stop for a moment. Take a deep breath in. And slow down. And really go, and if you need to close your eyes, do. And really go inside. And ask what's going on inside. How am I feeling? And where am I feeling this? And notice if there are any thoughts, nagging thoughts coming through your mind, chatter, notice it. Don't judge it. And try to just let it go. Okay. So, I really, really recommend that you try this, okay? For a longer period of time. Start with a half a minute, just silence, stop, completely stop. Especially when you get busy and you're like, in that energy of, urgency. I gotta do this and I gotta do that and I gotta do this and I gotta do that. How are you gonna hear your intuition if you're busy all the time? Okay, so basically here, silence, slow down, stop. Whatever is happening. What does your life sound like if it was an orchestra? Remember the metaphor from earlier? Or analogy or whatever? What does it sound like? What is your life like if it was an orchestra? Is it a cacophony of sounds that, that are filling your head and, all the time? Is there dead silence? Nothing is happening? Is there a harmonious thing going on? Is it only fear screeching over and over again like a violin being played badly? Yeah? So see what's happening. Stop and see what's happening. Check in with yourself. Because intuition is very much an inner knowing, remember? It's not about, asking and getting a new skill here and there and, reading and going outside for information. It's about your inside, what's going on inside of you. Okay, number 2. When you get a message that you feel a message. It's not a fear that can be intellectualized and explained and, I am worried about this or I am worried about that. It's something that starts with, I am sensing, I felt, I had this feeling. It could be something, of course, something in your body. I had this reaction, and I felt it in this area of my body, whatever it was. So if you can describe it like that, as a feeling or sensing, or a taste, maybe, for some people it's a taste. Locate it. Try to locate it. Where is it happening? Number 2, how does it feel? What is the feeling present here? And ask, how aligned is it with my purpose? How aligned is it with what I want? Okay? Meaning, is it giving me the right message for what I want? So really, really listen to that, because if it is giving you the right message and it feels right, it's really worth listening to. And keep doing that. Keep listening to those messages. And, you're not going to get it right or wrong from the beginning. This is something that needs to be, it's like an instrument, exactly, a musical instrument. You cannot, try the guitar once and, okay, you're the perfect musician. Nobody is. We're all still learning, okay? So that takes me to number 3. No right, no wrong. Don't make it an obsession, okay? In my work, I notice that people are very, very obsessed with, is this the right decision? What if it's wrong? So this is not about right or wrong. Intuition is always right, so you can be clear about that. So don't judge your decision, and leave it when you find yourself obsessing. That's your intellect, that's your brain just obsessing about fears and what's going to happen and all of that. Just leave it be and trust that whatever you'll go for will be the best for you, because whatever you do, it's a step in the right direction. So start to be detached. Start to try to become detached from immediate and small outcomes and results on the way, and start actually walking on the way, moving, because everything you do is a step in the right direction, even if the outcome is not what you wanted, what you expected. So whatever you do is always better than stuckness. It's better than being stuck in one energy and in your fear. Okay, so let go of what's right and what's wrong, and welcome the movement and the flow that your intuition gives you. Okay, and don't judge your decisions. Don't judge them. Take them and be happy that you were able to move forward. Okay. Number 4, reconnect with your body. Of course, we all live from the neck up, head. We're very much in an intellectual age, technological age, and we're very trained, through formal education and in our modern world to be in the brain and overthink everything, and all of our decisions are based on that. So intuition doesn't, intuition, a lot of it lives in the body. So reconnect with your body, and it's really up to you what you like. You could do that through communing with nature, going back to nature, wherever you live. It could be going next to the sea if you are, a lake, just in a park, the grass, feel the grass with your feet, feel the sand. If you have a garden, work in your garden, touch things, listen to the birds, slow down and just stop talking and stop thinking, dancing, for example. Whatever keeps your body busy will stop your brain from working, because you'll get your body busy moving, and your body will be so happy, and you will be so happy. So movement, any kind of movement, sports, if you like sports, walking, just anything simple. Okay, so reconnect with your body, number 4. And last one, number 5, seek spiritual guidance. So cultivate spirituality in your life, and there's no judgment here, of course. Whoever you are, whatever your beliefs are, whether you are religious or not religious, whatever you believe in, no judgment, just whatever if you find prayer helps you connect and with your spirituality, meditation or any form of practice, art, is another practice. For some people it's reading, so whatever it is, seek that guidance, because that will also, any form of spirituality will open the gates more to your intuitive talent, and allow your subconscious mind, for example, seeking guidance before you sleep is a really nice way to do that, to tap into your intuition, because you give your subconscious mind the chance to process what is happening, and it will show up in the form of dreams sometimes. So it's a good idea to do that. Okay, we are done. I'm sorry I cannot see any comments. I'm going to try. Maybe I will now. So I cannot see the comments. I'm really sorry, or messages, if there were any messages, but I will find them later, I'm sure. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I had a lot of fun talking about this. I hope you try some of the tools or homework. I will post it as usual. It will be also on YouTube. And please keep the topics coming. Keep the questions coming. I love interacting with you. And just as usual, I will see you next week, same time, here on the Sonia El Haj Coaching, and every Saturday at 3 p.m. GST. Also, I know we're completely out of time, but I wanted to remind you that we have, towards the end of the month, a 3-day free butterfly challenge. It's going to be a free training taking place over 3 days, from the 27th of December, and it will focus on 3 big topics that women experience and go through in their lives when they experience divorce, separation, or breakup. So I got a lot of great feedback and ideas about where women struggle the most. And so I took the top 3 choices that I was given, and I prepared some really great content around that. This will be a free training, and you will have a chance to interact and ask questions in a very, very safe and exclusive environment. So those who are members already of this tribe, the Free Butterfly Tribe, you will have fun with me. Others, if you're not there yet, please join us and invite others. This is an exclusively female community. Yes, so please contact me if you want more information. Again, a reminder will be posted with the video here on the page and on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining, whoever joined today. I really loved today, and I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.